Hi, I'm Chris from Airwindows, and we're doing a live stream a little bit early because I've got to log off at about 12 noon to do something. I may very well be back in time to do a little bit more streaming, but as you can hear, today is straight up derping around in Minecraft day. And it'll be nice to catch up with folks. I've got chat open. I'm also going to go and make a cup of coffee, but perhaps I'm not going to do that this instant because this is actually still quite early in the day. It's way earlier than I usually start streaming, but this gives me a good, close to 4 hours for derping around, being available on stream before I have to run off and do my thing. And I am in a position to show you what that thing is, which I will do if I get more people in chat and if people are really hot to find out about that, because it is very relevant to a lot of stuff. Let me just look around and make sure that I've got all of my stuff sorted. Camera seems to be working. Audio is apparently working. As usual, the Minecraft is being supplied through speakers, so I don't have it patched straight through. I do that for some of the music and plug-in coding streams. Let's see about getting this rolling. That's actually fairly interesting background music by them. My burb. Let's see, it is in fact night. And this is going to be, I think, probably a sort of Vexian running about, jumping on things and whatever, because it's not like I have anything important to do. I could do some fishing. That could be fun. It's a very fresh and undamaged fishing rod, in fact. I think I've been gifted more llamas. I'm not entirely sure. I don't like their noises as much as the noise of the parrot, which is rather sad because the parrot will eventually pick up those noises if it's hanging out in their vicinity. Yeah, and of course one of the things that I can do is go harvest more paper materials and such. There at the burb. I had a burb like this earlier in the playthrough. I think every quarter or so I get around to doing some Minecrafting stuff. It's not like my highest concern, but this is actually... Oh, I've got a missing sand. Do I have other sand? I know where I can get other sand. I'm going to go and get some other sand. Shouldn't be too hard. I do believe there's some right down here. There are also terrifying monsters right down here, but that's fine too. It is what it is. There, see, the depth of the ocean around here tends to make it so that all manner of nasty zombies from the sea come at me. It's okay, I'm just not necessarily hanging out right by them. Hey Marshall, I'm actually doing quite well. I started work on another plugin just the other day. What on earth is this? Oh, that's just part of what my base looks like. Yeah, I started work on another plugin in line with what I'm looking to do. And it's going to be an extension of both TAPAC, which is recent, and discontinuity. So naturally I'm calling it discontinuity, or something like discontapity is I think what it actually was. But the reason to do that, oh, do we have a missing? I do. Look at that. Come to think of it, I could absolutely continue this as long as there is some reason to have large quantities of paper or stuff. There's nothing wrong with filling the entire shoreline area, which is all artificially constructed anyhow. But yeah, this discontapity thing, the whole idea there is that, do I hear nasties down there? Probably. So discontinuity was my sort of silver bullet for console X and other related things to get loud sounds to sound more like they are loud sounds. So that'll work on anything. It exists as a standalone plugin and is also a key part of what makes console X special. That is the chicken bomb, the mysterious chicken bomb. I don't think it is running when I'm not here, so it's not going too overwhelming. There's things I can shut off about it, but it's doing a fairly decent job of, that's clear. This is beginning to fill with eggs, which is the primary thing about it. And it also is picking up a certain amount of feathers and cooked chicken. So it's a good little grinder. If you get too heavy into like what the reality of it would imply, it's a horrifying monster of a creation. And that's Minecraft for you. And then let's just go through and sort of continue this in case anybody needs these things. But yeah, the discontinuity combined, because here's the thing, right? So Tapac was hey Ethan, good to see you. Sorry to hear about the crash. I'm happiest when my stuff doesn't crash, but that's not always. Everything is so interdependent and it gets tricky. I do my best. But yeah, the Tapac proved an interesting process, because the thing is, some of the fundamental new ideas out of it aren't like literally new ideas, but were brought to my attention by a hardware maker who's worth your attention, Walters Audio. And he has been successfully releasing a astonishingly amazing hardware tape emulation. And it's been real nice with the interactions, because first thing I did was go, oh my God, I could make a plugin out of this. And his research paper, that is. And I made a plugin, and that was Tapac, and it sounds better than any of my saturations. Much like, to the best of my understanding, this guy's hardware is also going to sound better than anything, plus being analog. So the interesting differences between analog and digital is that if you're doing analog, there is a level of just sonic refinement that you can't really get out of digital, but there is a level of clarity that you can get out of digital that likewise doesn't happen naturally by analog. So each of these things have their own purposes. And I'm very happy and excited about Tapac being a great, awesome thing that is really living up to everything I could ask for it. But it is not a clone of this guy's hardware, nor am I really interested in it being, because the really simple, dolphins. Or actually, no, they're not dolphins, they're just excited fish. So the really interesting thing about the simple plugins like Tapac is that they are leaning in the direction of what I did with Console 0. Namely, you get to do stuff where the digital processing is so subtle that you can hang on to some of the clarity some of the promise of digital, which is usually not lived up to. Very often, just at the time that they were despawning, fine. That probably means that everything on the ground also despawns, so that's fine. Blood to you too. So basically, where my instinct leads me with this stuff, and I've got 14 sugarcane, which could be made into sugar, but I should probably make them into paper. Or who knows what, I haven't really decided yet. Will be? Oh, that came out even before I took a couple of weeks off. You can have that now. That is not something you have to wait for in the least. Tape pack is out. You can have it. There we go. That'll hold me for now, as I figure out other things I might want to do. I could have fun doing more bamboo forests. Seems like that might be a good thing. How about we also go and do crazy bamboo action? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no. Tape pack worked real good. That's part of the problem. I ended up in an interesting situation where people in my industry, like I am privy to like some chats and things, Discord servers, that are plugin people and their developments of things. So a lot of people like that are very cooperative and help each other. And it's like the open source thing, except for that we're also friends with closed source people. And I'm very grateful to have been allowed entry to a place like that. But then I also got involved in a thing where I was like, wow, this is really cool. How nice that I got this inspiration. I'm incredibly happy about the thing that I just made. And I feel kind of sad because it feels like I could step on this guy's work. After all, I could turn around a version of 2-tape, and it feels as if that might be going a little hard. And my friends were basically like, dude, that's very uncool, don't do that. And they were right. Because like this guy is launching a hardware thing, and it deserves all of the hype it might get. But the last thing I'd want to do is jump on something like the first comment anybody posted to TAPAC was, oh, is this a emulation of other guy's thing? And I was like, no, that's not what I was trying to do. I do my own thing. But it seemed very quickly that people were like, yay, free knockoff. And that's not how I do. That's not what it's like. So I've essentially been like, this is very amazing and exciting, and I'm going to hold off on further work, but nothing is stopping me from going at things in my own direction. And that can actually be even more exciting than going, hi, nice person who's been real helpful and is sharing some of this information. I'm going to steal your stuff now because that's very uncool. But if I take TAPAC and combine it with discontinuity, I might be looking at something which is a better, like, natural, loud sounding, I don't know exactly how to describe it. Oh, no, I'm not being required to delay a thing. Basically, people in my plugin makers community would think I was being a jerk if I dumped products to steal a guy's thunder who's perfectly legitimate and doing good work. I want his product myself, but I'm not going to get one now. I'm not going to get one now because I ended up having to choosing to replace my car. And that's probably going to make me even happier than like scrambling to put out a plugin that's stomping on somebody else's turf. It's not really anybody else's turf. Some of the stuff that the guy was learning new things about Jayton Chowdhury's Chow tape already does. But I don't think anybody had done that in hardware. And in hardware is a very exciting development because, well, I've heard some of the examples. I know what I'm hearing. He's really onto something. And still nobody seems to be getting exactly what's going on with this. Oh, look at all of the... I could have so damn much glass if I wanted. Maybe I'm going to hold on. I already have like a double chest full of glass already because I was doing this exact thing with the glass. Oh, I have also gotten in my own way as far as going past through to here, but that's fine. So yeah, the idea with the plugin I started working on today is much like Console X has this knob that is labeled in red on my control surface. And it is the discontinuity knob. Discontinuity is the plugin where I can apply like air pressure, speed of sound discontinuities to the sound. Perhaps not perfectly. Ooh, Darren, I am delighted to. I'm making my plugins available for Raspberry Pi. My hope is that if somebody wants to do some kind of neat thing and maybe make, I don't know, a stomp box or some physical device that's based on Raspberry Pis, they should be able to simply use all of my code, build it into that, have a native Pi variation on to start with, and then be able to... the thing that I would like to see, and I might need to do this with other, like the Daisy, for instance, is begin to make hardware based on some of my stuff, like the very guitar-relevant pointy guitar. If I do that, I'm likely to have it in a aluminum box, and you'd be setting up like a default sound, and then running the output directly into a power amp or something like that, or whatever your little hardware desired. And then all of the settings on the inside would be trim pots because I have trim pots. Although if I got much more ambitious, I also have large quantities of slider pots, including some fairly fancy ones with a long travel. But that's a whole other story. It's basically the concept of being able to bring my plugins into the world of hardware. And I'm all the more excited to do that, firstly, because I should make some hardware and sell it by the end of the year because I've had that stuff, and that gets involved in my taxes and such. So it's all very well that I potentially have a hardware subdivision going, but then all the same I should be selling them, otherwise it'll start looking sketchy. I get too busy making the software, which is much easier to give away for free, and I value that a lot. But especially now, I'm interested in coming up with stuff to do that will actually earn me something. Hey, Pink Sounds. Yeah, this is not my usual time, as you might imagine. We are fishing. Oh, did that work? I guess it did. Yeah, it seems to have. Pff, I missed. Oh well. Yeah. So I'm basically catching up with anybody who is able to show up to a stream this early in the day. I have to stop at noon. And the reason I have to stop at noon is I have to drive what turns out to be a $500 and increasingly dangerous car over to Brattleboro Subaru, who are the people when I was having steering problems that were scary. I tried to get them dealt with at the Keen Subaru, where I got the car in the first place. And they were trying to sell me a $1,500 steering rack replacement, which I was not excited to. Oh, is it late in your day? Well, that's all the more reason for me to sometimes stream at weird times. I shouldn't just enjoy metrical weird times. I should also stream at weird times. Who can say who will show up that I will get to meet and be friends with? So Brattleboro Subaru is the place that contrived to have the steering rack of my car replaced for free in some kind of extended maintenance deal. They did that for me when I did not buy the car from them. So I am turning around, and it's largely thanks to the Patreon, honestly. Like when I got the first car, I was able to finance about $7,000 of it because there was a down payment. And the down payment was the brother who I've had some estrangement with. But I was able to finance about $7,000 of it simply off of what's, I don't know, a quarter of the Patreon, or it was nothing near what I do now. And when I went over to the Subaru place and went, I should do something about this. I'm done with driving 10-year-old cars. And the most recent video, the end of the video, has a little monologue and commentary about just what my car situation has been like. And I'm pretty sure that all of the Airwindows fans do not like that. I'm pretty sure all of the Airwindows fans do not want me driving in a car that literally falls apart at speed on the road. That's dangerous. I could die. It's the underbus thing, except for without a bus, it's your own car killing you. And the first situation I had like that was a Buick Century, and I was like dead broke and had I was just barely starting Airwindows, and I was really up against it. And so my mom gave me this car after it was all well and truly worn out, and I loved it and modded the heck out of it, and turned it into, I have pictures. I turned it into a complete monster. Maybe I'll make a car history picture, a car video, just private for patrons only. After I get the one that I've contracted to do. I've already got a down payment down. I'm not capable of doing a $10,000 down payment like my brother was able to throw, but that was like pretty well 10 years ago. And by now, I was able to throw like a $7,000. I came close to wiping out literally all of my savings. But I've been doing stuff like that for the purpose of getting things that will make it more possible for me to run on more of a shoestring budget in the future. Like I had a water heater die, and I was able to replace that with what was a much more expensive water heater, but more relevantly, it was also way more efficient, so I'm paying less on electricity, keeping water heated. And that is a lot of how I was able to put a down payment, night's coming, on a actual car. And I've arranged for a ridiculously long car payment, like 72 months, with the understanding that if I can pay it off faster, I totally will. But what that means is if I can clear like another $500, I'm not exactly sure quite what it will end up being, but if I can clear another $500, I can do that with no real change in, getting music hardware and stuff like that. Or I can just tighten my belt, not like get, goodies food-wise or whatever, but lean more into my heritage of being desperately broke dude, which is why I was driving the car that has started like falling apart and is getting me $500 on a trade-in. So I went from like $1,000 car or less from my mom to a Subaru Forester, and I have videos of that too, that I also hot rodded like crazy, but that was like $1,000 car, and that was used, and I straight up just bought it. So it started out as $1,000 car, and then like with the Buick Century, it became so old that the rear axle fell off while I was driving it. The wheel stayed within the wheel wells, So I did not crash, but it was one of those terrifying things where all of a sudden it's like, cars are not meant to do this. And it didn't hurt me because I was lucky. And then likewise, with the Forester, its front wheel fell off while I was driving it because it was also your $1,000, 100,000 mile or plus old car, and that was what I could do at the time. And people would not want me doing that. And the car that I've been driving for the last close to 10 years is becoming one of those. I'm getting like $500 back. And it's another one where, because it was desperately unimpressive, I hot rodded it all over the place. And it has not tried to kill me yet, and it's not going to get the chance unless it tries to kill me being driven over to the dealership. But somebody's going to get a wonderful bargain, because in many ways, apart from it's only about 60,000 miles, but it's old. So rust is getting to it, and rust is why the wheel fell off the Forester. The Forester was all very great and stuff, but the suspension things were able to rust out. And it had been like 100,000 mile in Vermont, in the Northeast, where we have like sand, snow. Oh, look, I got a leather. Where we have like snow and salt on the roads to clear them up. Which was the same thing with that Buick Century long, long ago. That Buick Century was a Massachusetts car. My mom owned it and used it to drive to work. And she put so many miles on salted Massachusetts roads that the fact that the rear spring mounts rusted out and came loose and the whole thing was like, whoa, was just what you get when you're in the Northeast. So the idea with the getting an act, like, I'm going into heavy debt, but it's over 72 months. So again, like if I can clear $500 or if I can budget $500 from just economizing and not buying musical instruments or whatever, running with what I've got, in some ways I like that even better because it means that all of the work that I'm doing will be more geared towards the sounds I'm making you can also make because it's all open source software or free stuff. I do like that a lot. But it also puts me in a position to, for the first time in my life, thanks to my Patreon and having just gradually built it over years, it's not a situation where I'm like, I desperately need a big influx of money now. It looks like I can budget it. How comfortably I can do that depends upon whether people like chime in. And I'm going to make a video for the Patreon like that. But I can show a bottle of water, neat. I can show all of the previous cars, including to some extent the Buick Century. I can post a video that literally is old videos that I had of the Forester. And then there's a couple of pictures and things of the current Impreza that I've had for close to 10 years. Never that much with it because one of the things about the Impreza is, unlike the Forester, which I had like an exhaust and an air intake and a cat and stuff, so it sounded desperately hostile. I will show the video. Patrons, I will show the video. And it was great fun for somebody sort of in that midlife crisis zone, obviously. I plead guilty to that. Ooh, another fish? Or, no, it was a fish. The thing about the Impreza is it starts out as this sort of tiny little car with a CVT transmission and was never meant to be like, if you literally take the muffler off, it's still not that overwhelmingly fierce sounding because the catalytic converter is fairly restrictive. And although it's a boxer engine, the engine is just kind of a little bitty engine. It's like a 2.0 sort of engine. Why is this not wearing out? I'm assuming it's going to eventually wear out. That doesn't actually teach me anything. Maybe it has mending on it. I don't remember there being mending on it, but that would explain this. Or maybe I just have it, or it has a lot of, here, let me see. Okay, so, oh, okay, fair. It has unbreaking 3 and mending. This is the fishing rod that never wears out, unlike cars. But yeah, the thing is, all of the modding I have done has been towards multiple purposes. I hot rod the stereo systems because budget car stereo systems are typically ass, and I've not enjoyed the console section in the 2014 Impreza. It's not to be recommended. It's kind of garbage. Although it will play a USB stick, and it'll play MP3s and things on a burned to a CD. So the one thing I always need to do is the stereo, and the other thing I typically do is hot rod the engine, not because I am prone to racing around and stuff, but because I would like the car to feel as if it can go zip if it needs or wants to. And the thing about buying a new car and financing it in this way and throwing a down payment at it, turned out I would not be able to get something really fancy and probably would not want to. Like Subaru, and I'm very fond of Subarus being a Vermonter. Subaru makes WRXs, WRX STI. They do make extremely spiffy race about at high speed rally car cars. And in the snow, I enjoy having some of that on tap, which is why I was hot rodding the engine and air intake. Or not, the engine was never touched, but I would hot rod the muffler and air intake simply to try to get it breathing a little bit more freely and just trying to make it that much more zippy. Although this demolished the resale value of the car. If I get to go for a new one, it turned out that the this year's Impreza has a baseline model and various things like Sport and RS. You have to go all the way to RS to get the fancy stereo system, but when you do, it's amazing, and it's not a hot rodding, so it wouldn't hurt resale value, meaning that if I went for all of that kind of stuff, and then before it is 100,000 miles old, traded it back in without having screwed it up, it would actually not be worthless. It wouldn't be a $500 car. It would be something else. And that could be, an exciting situation, although it all depends. I might just want to run it for another 10 years. I mean, that could very much be a thing. But the less I do with such a thing, even though I am the tinkerer, I am the hot rodder, I would probably figure out okay, what's a fancy air filter I can put in this without touching anything else? Because that's the sort of thing I do. But with something like that, you can kind of do that. I don't think that would have I can ask them. I can ask the dealership, can I do this without you figuring that it's hurting anything? Because it wouldn't really make enough of a difference. Oh, it's nighttime. But yeah, the other thing relates to the, did that not work? There we go. The other thing relates to one further detail that will give me a great deal of delight. And if people enjoy me having delight, well, that's going to happen. It'll probably help me make better plugins and be happier in videos and stuff. There'll be all kinds of usefulness to this. Not that you'd necessarily want to pay me just to be happy. Maybe you do. I don't know. But yeah, I have a picture of the one I'm looking at. And as you can see, it's this sort of cerulean blue color. Oh, I wouldn't need to. I wouldn't need to. If you are willing to go hard enough on upgrade packages, and that proved possible, it's not great. I could be paying hundreds of dollars less in payments. But then I would be wanting to mod it. And if I can contrive to have it be perfect from the get-go and I would never want to mod it, that means I can leave it utterly untouched and then not ruin it for resale. But yeah, here's the final catch, which will fill me with delight. These upgrade packages and things, by the time that you get the nifty stereo, they also have a power upgrade. I know where that rotten flesh came from. It's all the zombies that are down there. So the power upgrade takes it from what everybody on the internet seems to consider as a completely garbage, like 145 or so horsepower. Same as what I've got now. My changes wouldn't have changed this very much. They're just fun. But it's like 140 with a CVT transmission, so nobody considers this to be like an exciting race car that you'd want. Would you want to steal it, man? It's a super rally CR, WRX, STI, it's not remotely one of those. And so the 140 people consider to be like, yeah, the most recent Prius will blow that out of the water. But by the time you get to the, boots, cool. By the time you get to the upgrade package where you can have the fancy stereo, which is a thing I very much like, I can't have one where the stereo is garbage. I need to be excited in my own music and excited in the records that I have. I'm going to do a thing for patrons on the record front. I will start that at my earliest available opportunity. I'm just a little bit distracted with all this car stuff. But you also get a power upgrade package. You get the 2.5 liter rather than the 2 liter. It's maybe a tiny bit less gas mileage. Yeah, your time has changed. But it's almost exactly 20% more power than the base Impreza, without in any way stopping from being just a base Impreza. It's just a base Impreza with a package. But since it is this color that I want, anybody who is familiar with like some of my fandom interests, like for instance, My Little Pony, does any thoughts come to your mind? I'll be literally getting a car in which the power is 20% cooler. My car will be the color of Rainbow Dash and 20% cooler like Rainbow Dash. This tickles me so much. I cannot tell you how much amusement that gives me. And I'm looking to get a vanity plate that says Dashy. And it's just going to be such fun. But yeah, that could still lose a drag race to certain Priuses, but not nearly as easily. But yeah, I mean, I spent 10 years of my life in that fandom, and, Best Pony has always been Dashy. Well, now Best Pony gets to be a car and also Dashy. It's cool to me. I have no shame about that being cool to me. I get to define what is cool and what is not. And the important thing is I can do it without like leaning really heavily on Patreon and being like, guys, you have to bail me out so that I can do these silly things that will fill me with much delight. Because I can do the silly things that will fill me with much delight. And then I just have to manage like whatever level of extra budgeting I have to do in order to make it work. I did it the last time. The reason I was able to do this on like roughly $20,000 a year salary or so, 20, 30, something like that. Pretty close to minimum wage with the hours I put in, but it doesn't really count because the hours that I put in are all the things I want to do in life. Oh, more leather. Yeah, it's so this is an exciting day, and I may very well get right back onto the stream after I leave at noon, or get ready to leave. All the bottles and things, huh? To go to the dealership. They are checking it out, and yeah. So the primary justification for all of this is that having driven a rental car, I never telegraphed this because I am not going to be inclined to telegraph like, hi, I'm going on a vacation going away. Instead, I'll just be like, I'm going to take a breather, okay, guys? And then maybe later I'll tell you where I have been. I went to a furry-con in Memphis and ran sound for them. Mixed a band who did great and did like music jams with people across the entire course of the convention because that was my job. I am on staff. And that meant I got to bring like my little Fender Passport. I've got these things behind me right now. In fact, I haven't put them away yet. A little Fender Passport and a Roland rack mount mixing board that I tried to sell previously and nobody would buy in an old SKB case. And a MIDI Verb 2, which is still the same basic concept as the MIDI Verb 1, so it has nice depth to it. And a Proteus for synth making. And I got to bring all of that stuff out and set it up and just jam with people in all manner of different ways. And I discovered multiple musicians who really had an awesome gift that was worth celebrating. So that really, like, I haven't been able to jam with anybody for a long time. Only time I ever get to do it is at this con. So I go to this con. And yeah, it really filled up my fuel tanks for a lot of things. What the heck have I just picked up? What even was that? I guess it was just another water bottle that looked funny. Huh. Yeah, I used a MIDI Verb 2 on location, manning a sort of jam. I think any convention of any fandom where you could go and there's a jam section with people with guitars and keyboards and a little bit of percussion and stuff, where you can just sit down and jam with people who know how to jam, rather than just like playing songs that you're trying to learn and stuff. I feel that is a gift that people my age, being like 57 years old, that was our experience. That's how we got into music. And a lot of people are less into that anymore, but it's there for anybody who wants it. And it's a gift to be able to, excuse me, I would like some ink sacs. This is one of the things I often like to do is, oh, that one's going far away and I'm getting attacked. Wonder if it can swim faster than the squid can flee. Dang it. Well, as long as he's not throwing tridents, I'm safe. And if I can catch that other one that ran away. Yeah, exactly. Like jamming is such a good thing. Did I actually? No, that's going to be the one. There it is. Or there it isn't. Maybe I'll see it at the surface. Let's chase this one now. I think I picked up the ink sacs. If not, I can see them floating eventually. Like there's one. And if I can reach land without getting attacked, which is questionable, I can sleep and then return to fishing. Yeah, so that's the thing, is I have the capacity to get with other musicians and show them this jamming thing. And that is a very... I've got a pile of MIDI verb ones, but some of them don't work. I invested in MIDI verb ones at one point just so that I could have lots of them. Why on earth do I only have... Oh, because I have 6 ink sacs. Those are black die, not ink sacs. Fair. Yeah, so that's what's planned for today. And I think I'm going to catch another fish, close myself up in the house, and go to make a cup of coffee, because now it is 9, and that seems like a reasonable enough time. So, do I have my door closed? That's probably what I need. Yep, good enough. So it will probably not be attacked in here, and this is a fine time for me to scoot off and go and make myself a second cup of coffee. By all means, chat, I will poke back in, and yeah, that and use my facilities. Hey, I'm still here. This is my coffee timer. I have just realized that I forgot to make breakfast, so I should probably do that as well. And maybe I'll take a moment in there. Ooh, Dolores, I can answer some of that question because I was involved in some of those things back in the day. An online band can totally work if you're passing around files and stuff. People just contribute to things, bring them into the overall project, and everybody gets you can even do online jamming over a sort of loop basis where you're playing live into a looping situation where that's the synchronization, and then what you're playing is delayed or overlaid or whatever, so that you can it's a latency-free online jamming thing in that you're sort of layering stuff. I know that existed. I have partaken in it before, and I don't remember what it was called or what that was. But yeah, so we will leave this. I'm going to try to keep an eye on whether Minecraft thinks it's night or not so that I can sleep. But yeah. So now I'm ready to pour the rest of my coffee, and this is probably also a fine. I'll even show you the omelets I make. Hopefully it'll come out well. I make omelets, and they are French-style omelets, made flipping a pan around without a spatula or anything like that. Let's see how well I'm doing on the omelets today. You know, Minecraft, you could definitely be making more noise while I'm making breakfast. When I make the omelet, I'll bring it over so you can see it. Meanwhile, do we have dying zombies out here? Yes, we do. including one of these buggers. Actually, I do not want you on the... That's not actually what I had in mind. Jerk. Oh, look at you. Well, that at least is more harmless. I don't know what these mean frickin' zombies killing the llamas. Not that I'm that infatuated with the llamas, but still, that seems rude. You, on the other hand, I do not want taking my blocks. And you would probably do that thing. Is this enough of a 2-block high scenario that I could safely... Not really. I know what we could do. I could try to make an Enderman smashing station. We do know how. Okay, on that side. Okay, I dare you. Where'd you go? I think maybe I just wasted my time because he skedaddled. Nope, still there. Alrighty. Hi, jerk. There we go. Alrighty, that's pretty straightforward. I do still have breakfast to make. I will still make breakfast. It's just sort of sitting around, waiting for me to proceed. Once I finish with that, I'll bring it over so you can see the lovely omelet. Oh, could have taken that off, I suppose. Almost there. And my coffee is made. I just have to add some stevia and light cream to it. Or rather, half and half is what I've got at the moment. Alrighty. Back in a bit. I'll be right back. I'm making an omelet. Alrighty. So, still daytime, very good. So, as promised, I will take a moment. And as you've seen many times before, here's my coffee. But what you haven't seen many times before, and I'm probably going to mute my mic for a moment, is my breakfast omelet. This is far from the most lovely omelet I've ever made. Usually they're sort of more ovoid and rounded and stuff, but it is a French-style omelet that's done entirely with just flipping the pan around. I am honestly warming to the idea of setting up a camera in the kitchen so that I can just fire up the coffee making or whatever and just switch the camera over to there. I wouldn't be able to see chat or anything like that, but yeah. So back to this. Remind me if I forget to turn the mic back on. Alrighty. Yep. I'm more comfortable with having mic on when I'm only drinking coffee. I've also thought of something. Oh, hey, multiple. Oh, you're going to leave the poor horse behind? What are you doing with that horse? That horse has seen better days, I tell you. Feed the poor horse. So one of the things that I would like to do I can do this on the phone. Is jump on, let's see. Yep. Let me go back to my fishing. I might be able to do this and that at the same time. We shall see. Don't be caught by my fishing hook. Big sounds. With a bit of luck, I can tell the folks at the convention, or at least those that I hang out with, I shouldn't try to watch that too closely. Yeah, let's see. We'll skip over a bunch of this. Oh. I completely am not fishing properly because I'm trying to do this. So I'll let that pass for the moment. At least I have background music to enjoy. There we go. This should cover my needs there. Alrighty. Oh no, only awake, sleeping for a couple of hours. See some of that some of the time. So I'm going to say that message is delivered. And I don't need to pay any attention to the other channels, because that's the most general purpose method for meat channel I have available to me, so that seems about right. And yeah. Oh, and Difiver, you are quite welcome. I am happy to have made, it never occurred to me to make a cluster ensemble type plugin that was also a householder matrix. It never occurred to me that you could do it that way and it would be better. And yet it turns out it is absolutely better. So I'm very happy with Take Care too. I haven't used it that much, but I could see using it a lot more. Diver, all right. And Jason, I was born on June 5th, 1968. So you're almost exactly 10 years younger than me. maybe I want to harvest some of this bamboo. Doesn't end up as that much. Looks like you are floating in the air or on the water. That's cute. Mind you, it seems like there might be a risk of getting eaten by zombies that way, but I suppose if you're not literally in the water, then it'll be fine. Yep, that's me. I am one of those Geminis. So yeah, maybe a bit more about the plugin I started working on yesterday. I may very well continue doing more on that as more of a coding stream, either post car swap today, because that's a very exciting thing that's going to be happening in about 2.5 hours, or after I get back. I don't know how long this is going to take. I've done a lot of the stuff I need to do, so there's very little left. But I will also have many questions, like I'm real interested to know if the financing I'm getting into is a fixed rate, because it's much less desirable to the point of being infinitely undesirable if it's not. I don't remember the previous one being other than a fixed rate though, so I want to be able to nail it down. Patch correction in Surge XT, eh? Fair enough. Yeah. I was hanging out with some people with similar interests of yours at the con that I went to. There was a panel that I went to, which I only moderately qualify, but I went to a Christian furries panel, and it was pretty cool. I hung out with a Catholic priest I've known for many years, who is a griffin/lion furry. Me, I just got raised Episcopalian, so I'm quite happy with what they've been doing with themselves, but I go to recovery meetings rather than church. In those, we basically learn to be kind to all of those around us, whatever particular, like we don't discriminate by faith or anything, because recovery and getting to not have to use anymore is the most important thing. Yeah, so what was I calling it? Discontapity, which is a funny name, granted, but that's just the horse. So the idea behind discontapity is I'm using a lot of my stuff, like Console X has the discontinuity plugin built into it, and I consider it to be a very important thing to add. More boots. I think I have multiple sets of boots now. I don't know how those got worn out. They were in the water. Oh, and those are totally worn out. But you know what? We can just quietly combine these and make them slightly better. Also, I can grab a bit of sleep. Shield everybody from the consequences of night. Oh, there we go. Discontapity and the idea behind it. Wonder whether I was going to yank my bed with me. Is the idea of taking that part of discontinuity that works on things like loud guitars and drums and stuff, and it's part of how I can get a convincing sound out of Console X, but combine it with tape hack, because tape hack is that's a thought. That's a thought. Tell me more about that as things go on. Like, keep coming around and keep suggesting, and it's more likely to start happening. Tape hack is, like I was talking about before, it is not a clone of this fellow's new T802 hardware device. I want those too, but I'm not going to be able to get them. Like, I'm not going to get anything that expensive until I have paid off the car. And I wasn't really expecting that, but it's so clearly a good idea that I'm running with it. some of my recovery folks that I'm friends with, between each other, even though it's not a religious program, the recovery thing that I'm doing is more a spiritual program, but we're still akin to calling stuff like that God shots. And then leaving it at that, because we don't want to get into anybody's face about our beliefs or nothing like that. But discontapity, which I started, I guess, yesterday. Oh, look at that. I got a tag. Would you like to name your skeleton horse anything? Over there? Oh, you're building a little island. A little floating island. I could name my parrot. I'm not sure what I'd name it. Yeah, the thing about TAPAC is that it is boiled down to such. Sometimes you can do a lot. Ooh, what, the horse? Okay. We'll call it Boney Maloney or something. Impressive to get it to this little deserted island. I can park it near the parrot so that the parrot starts talking like a skeleton horse. But the thing is, discontinuity is about doing sounds in air, whereas TAPAC is one particular kind of. They can't swim? Can you feed them anything to make them more healthy, or are you just stuck with like keeping it in a quiet space? Oh, well, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so it wasn't necessarily taking damage. I'm not sure how you'd know if it was. Maybe you can. What I'm thinking of for future plugins, in particular, this could find its way into Console H just in general principles. But I'm much more interested in being able to do something like this for, I guess I'd probably call it Console AW, or the private one that I'd like to make, which is like same console style calculation, so interchangeable with Console X, Console H, so on, but simplified controls. So using the same faders that I have, but then the entire frequency stuff becomes the 4 joysticks, like with Smoothie Q2. And then the red knob, the discontinuity one, turns into something that will act both like applying that discontinuity processing, so stuff sounds like it is loud and at a distance, but also includes some parameter of TAPAC, which is not specifically a tape effect, but what it's doing is it's applying a transfer function in such a way that rather than being a sign processing, it's a slightly crooked sign processing. And the purpose of that is because you can what am I hearing? Maybe that was just my parrot again. I most definitely heard spooky water zombie noises, but it might just have been the parrot. The parrot is hanging out in a place where it can hear those if they wander around close. Oh, there's the llama. Llama, make friends with the skelly horse. So one thing I can do in situations like this, and bear in mind you will have to be patient, because although I would like doing this jamming stuff, usually I have to take a week off mid, around about this time of the year to go to a con to do it, because otherwise all of my time is spent making plugins and developing those. And I'm quite happy with that. Oh. Can I fish up pink sounds? I probably do not wish to do so. That was a funny thing that showed up. Haha, I fished the same area as you. It wouldn't matter. It's a game. It doesn't know anything about that stuff. You're going to be getting zombies if you fish there, just swimming and stuff. I mean, you can, but nobody is stopping you from doing that. I wonder if zombies come, can I fish them? This is like all the annoying quadruped noises now. The llamas are somewhat annoying. The scaly horse is eerie and annoying. Oh, that's good. I've got a pretty respectable fishing rate already. I'm not sure I did say a conduit. What would I have said since it wasn't a conduit? What I was jamming at was a con. And there are many sorts of them. For instance, the recovery stuff that I do, which is NA, they have conventions so much that when I say I go to a convention, people usually think I mean that. Or at least those friends think I mean that. But what I meant was, in fact, a furry-con, and one down in Memphis. It's pretty much what you would think, but there's a lot of older furries. Oh, there's not a thunderstorm or at night. So it's a little tamer and smaller than some of the gianter ones. Let's see, can we combine these into perfectly good leather boots? Sure can. Also, why don't I use the mending of this one to heal it up a little bit? I don't know how I ended up with two of them. You can absolutely use the standalone effects in preference to Airwindows Consolidated. I do them for being able to be used. I'm very happy with Consolidated, though. Consolidated is somebody else building upon what I've made. And I'm extremely delighted that he was willing to do that. And that also gives you access to all the Airwindows stuff, and I mean literally all the that are in Consolidated in VCV Rack. So that makes it kind of extra exciting. I could probably do a better job of telling people that I'm going to this convention. Again, the reason that I generally don't is because I have a distaste for telling people, hi, I'm not going to be attending any of my stuff for a couple of weeks. Although, honestly, people go to work every day, leaving their stuff unattended, and it's largely fine. So I'm just getting weird. Oh, no, Dolores. No. Not exactly. There are some who are going for that. It's a furry con. It's like, I consider that I am basically a cat person. So I enjoy... What's this about? You know what? I am going to protect this poor llama. Because otherwise it's a goner. Spitting is not actually that effective. Or maybe it is and I don't know. Daytime would be good around about now. Let's see if I can make that happen. All the other llamas got killed by zombies and such. Yeah, so the deal with the furry con is any combination of, like, I just like cartoon characters, to I feel a deep connection to like catliness, so it's part of my spirituality oh, look, there's a puppy. Nice. Don't hurt any of the other critters, puppy. And people who get together on the back of that, for the really giant ones, like there is a con called AnswerCon, there's a con called Furry Weekend Atlanta, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. There's a con in Florida. And some of these are like 20, 30,000 people. Take over like multiple hotels. Oh, is it not Team Doggy? Well, they can't really hurt the skeleton any worse. I assume. Maybe you can. Are you going to go after the Skelly horse? Maybe not, because the Skelly horse is too intimidating. So yeah, that's basically, like, it's just an excuse for people to get together. And it's also a thing that is useful for people who are kind of alienated. Like me growing up with autism and a family that ended up disowning me was challenging enough that I needed friends. I needed a community. And that was what was there for me. So I've never really forgotten it. Hey, Math Mage, right on. That is extremely cool. Just randomly showing up, doing the kinds of stuff that I enjoy. I think there was another doggy in that boat. So yeah, what I'm going for with starting to program discontapity, and I have to call it discontapity because it's a crossbreed between discontinuity and tapehack. The great thing about that, oh, fair enough. The great thing about that, oh, now we have a bone floating around. Fair enough. I could give the puppy a Viking's death by firing up the chicken. I should check on how that chicken thing is working. Here's another thing that I've been doing on the Minecrafts. Oh, have anything hanging around down here? No. Skelly Horse does have that ominous, like, this is bad enough. Oh, Dolores, this is one of the reasons why to be compassionate to people, which I doubt I have to explain to you about. But then also, that's one of the things that makes Chris's from Airwindows. Like, if not for that background, I very much doubt I would have ended up doing what I do, being what I am. So there is a degree of gratitude in there as well. It's just that for some of us, life just gets better in a pretty profound way, rather than life starting out being like, yay, this is great. Oh, this is going along pretty good. I can even make some arrows, most likely, from this. But mostly it's just generating a lot of egg overflow. So that's cool. Yeah, the machine is the machine. It's going to be doing what it does. John Dobb with a relevant question for Literal Today. Absolutely not. It is not going to be as loud as the old modded Forester. Neither was the Impreza I've had for years. For some of us, life absolutely gets better and continues to get better. You have to find your right crew of people, and that is very doable. There are lots of people who simply would like to be good and positive and kind and stuff. It's better for you. You're a happier person if you embrace that kind of thing. The exact framework that you do it in is probably not as important as taking it seriously. I don't have any cats, no. I have had cats before. At a certain point, I was like, I'm going to... when the last cat passed away of old age, I was like, okay, that's good. Because now I can do things like be on the staff of this con and go to a con and be away for a while without having to make arrangements or without having my cat be lonely. So at the FurryCon, there were some people who brought pets there, which might not seem that impressive. Obviously, you'd have like service dogs and stuff. But it's more impressive considering that one of these people had a pet opossum. So there was a tame opossum on a leash wandering around with this person some of the time, not lots of the time. But that was fascinating. So that's the kind of stuff that you can run into at a furry con. If somebody's pet is a opossum and they got to come to the con. Well, here's a thought. Darren, I'm going to bounce this off of you. I'm going to take a moment away from fishing. You might try to look up this funny thing. This is the thing that people made called a autism wheel. Back when I was going through a bunch of my stuff, this didn't exist. People are learning more and more about these things year by year. And the autism wheel is this little display thing that you can sort of rate your intensity of various stuff. And it is also worth, Math Mage. Yeah, my family, would Lake Superior make you a Michigan? My family came from Michigan, and I am also Finnish heritage. So here are some of the things that autism can be like. And you can find this online and play. Again, autism wheel. And so I've rated myself on some of these things. As you can see, some of them, the black goes all the way out to the edge, and other ones, not nearly so much. So the thing that I am rating myself highest on is restricted interests. I pretty much just do my plug-in sound kind of things. Anxiety is relatively high, although less and less the more I do this and the more that I have security in my life. My security is going to go down a little bit because of a car payment, which is fine. It might or might not be a intense thing, but I'm sure it was worse before. It's all good. There's a thing called stimming. Stimming is an autism thing where if you're like doing repetitive motions or scratching on something or whatever, there's all manner of stuff. Like there's little prickly pad things that you can just sort of knead or fuss with. Anything you fuss with your hands can count as stimming. And if you get a lot out of that, that's an autistic characteristic. It's something that your mind and body just kind of want to do. Meltdowns, I run very low, but I run very low on meltdowns because I was raised with great punishment and anger if I ever dared to do such a thing. So I basically forced myself never to allow that. So I grew up not actually with any experience of meltdowns, mostly. There were times when it was a particularly rough time in my life where I was young and I did have some of those, and it was a troubling experience. Going back and, if you can sleep as needed, because I'm distracted from that right at the moment. Eye contact. Eye contact is the thing. Like when I look at the camera like this, I actually have a mirror just over where the camera is. So I can look at that and I see eyes looking back at me. For most people, that would have them staring directly at the eyes constantly. But I do tend to look away. And I don't really naturally make lots of eye contact. I've learned to be better about that. But it's necessarily bad or good. It's just a thing. Social issues I rate very highly on, and that's partly why Airwindows means so much to me, is because I have a way of engaging. It's also why I brought musical stuff to this con and ended up being on staff at the con, because if I am at my own, left to my own devices, and I don't have a purpose to be there, I struggle. I struggle to connect with people. So live streaming is interesting and weird because I'm mostly just talking about programming and plugins and stuff, or about all this manner of stuff. And it's the way I find that comes naturally. But hanging out with people, I've always struggled with the social issues of being able to make the connections. It took years to learn just to be interested in other people's stuff. So let's see. Sensory issues is fairly low for me, but it wasn't always. Sensory issues is like getting weird itchings, fluorescent lights driving you insane, stuff like that. Stuff like, I can't be here right now because the fluorescent light is flickering and I'm going to lose my mind and run away. Need for routine for me is very high. That's one of the reasons why I can do things like live streams or releasing plugins and just have it be so predictable to the point where people can't understand. By the way, Pink Sounds, would you mind passing the night? Thank you. The need for routine is extremely great for me, which is why I can do stuff like the live streaming and show up on a regular basis. And it's also why I thrive on putting out a plugin every week in a very predictable way. Granted, it's a bunch of work, but at the same time, it's routine. And I thrive on routine. So as long as that's going and I have my little backlog of new plugins that I can post, stuff like that, I thrive on that. It's not really a burden. Somebody said after I returned from the con, oh, you should have more than 1 week of vacation. And I was like, but I like working. I like making plugins. Let's see. Getting down to the final ones. Executive function. This is something that doesn't get in my way as much, but there has been times when it did. When you have issues with executive function, what that means is that you get sort of stuck in your own head and can't get down to doing things. And again, my routine with the plugins is very helpful with this. If I'm left to my own devices, there's a risk that I will just sit there looking at YouTube videos and be stuck on that, and then the day will pass and I won't have got anything done. And if I'm stressed out about getting things done, that makes it harder to do the executive function. So you get in this little trap that is very unpleasant. Fortunately, I'm able to avoid those, but I'm always very aware of that's a thing. It's a thing that I try to get away from. Communication problems is something, I'm not entirely sure why I have this rated as high as I have, but my way of getting around communication problems is basically just being myself to the furthest extent and sort of shrugging my shoulders and not worrying if who I am or what I'm doing seems weird to anybody. It's like that's the last thing I can be concerned about at this stage of my life. I don't think I'm necessarily going to get retirement, but it is just possible that I will end up getting Social Security if it isn't destroyed by the time I get there. But I'm less than 10 years away from 65. So I really can't be bothered being upset about communication problems. When I was a lot younger, I was desperately worried about not being able to communicate to people. And yeah, that's the last one. So restricted interests, anxiety, stimming, meltdowns, eye contact, social issues, sensory issues, need for routine, executive function problems, communication problems. And that's the autism wheel. So now I can bounce back to the video games. I have tended not to, through my life, I have tended not to be completely buried in video games, and yet that is certainly one of the sorts of things that could happen. Yep. Hi. What's up? Ooh. I will grab that. Now I have two. Oh. I hear an SD. Worf, says the puppy. Yeah, some of the most important things that I can do, like I can tell you stories from the con that are very delightful. I think I've done this before, but I didn't actually do it with like my live stream. So yeah, these are the kinds of things that have me going back to stuff like that. And I'm finishing the last of my coffee so that I can talk more freely. and I will finish the thought about discontapity afterwards. Ooh, more leather. I honestly enjoy when I'm not actually getting fish, but I'm getting weird stuff, because that's more delightful to me than just getting mass quantities of fish. I honestly don't care about fish, and I'm not very interested in them either in real life or in Minecraft, because they're not my preferred food source. So yeah, let's see, where was I at? Experiences at this convention. Like, some of the things that I enjoy most are going to this con and jamming with people in such a way where I get to discover something cool. Like, when I was a kid, I had an English teacher who I did writing for class exercises and things, and I wrote some stuff that was pretty good. And he responded to this. He was like, "You have a gift for writing, my son. You should do more of this. You can do it well." And it made a huge impression on me. Yeah. Oh, look into Surge XT and you will see that I have plugins included inside it. There's an Airwindows menu. Now, the frustrating thing about that is that it's a smattering of older stuff, and they have been very uninterested in adding anything more. So, yeah, the Surge XT I've always kind of favored, and I've been able to do some cool things with it. I'd like to share more of the patches that I make. It's just that I don't really spend that much time making them. And I just do something like I did a Rhodes electric piano in 6 signs, which is Bacon Paul's thing. And then I've done a couple of variations on a, oh, and look, I've healed up this other thing completely. Nice. Maybe I can combine them. Look at the sea lure unbreaking. Look at the sea 2. Well, that's not actually going to get me a luck at the sea. Can you even get? This is better because this has more in the way of luck at the sea and lure. I could probably give the other fishing rod to somebody. Spawn on this server is where I've stuck a bunch of things like that. So I just make a bunch of stuff and then I bring it back to spawn and leave it in a big chest for newcomers who show up. We have had grievers show up as well. I'm not really of a mind to maintain the server and make sure that it goes completely ungrieved. So basically I just find new places to go and stuff. And I'm trying not to show coordinates on stream. We're not that far from spawn. And honestly, a lot of people I think who come and could either be griefy or not will eventually not be, simply because this community is nice and welcoming, and we're a friendly place for even weird, edgy people who might be trouble. Hopefully my way of being and the kinds of stuff that I do encourage people to not simply be trouble just for their own amusement, but to enjoy being able to share stuff and have friends. That seems nice. Also, I am quite aware of Short Circuit XT, and I look forward to using it, but I'm all, ooh, a saddle, neat. But I'm also interested in using Surge XT as a sampler, because you can use its wavetable thing to be a sampler. You're just somewhat limited in how that goes about, but you can use the wavetable thing for a single sample, one-shot sampler, and it reacts nice and crisply as well. So I kind of favor that, and you get to do the full surge thing around it. It just becomes an oscillator. In fact, you could probably do independent samples for multiple oscillators and have usefulness going on there. That might be worth doing a live stream, because one of the things that I like to do is when I'm exploring stuff like that, I like to show people how things can be done so that they can do them, especially if it's free stuff. Because I've spent a lot of time not being able to, like, the fact that I'm able to finance getting a new car like a normal, regular job-having person blows my mind. I love it. I can't give that to people. But what I can do is all the free things that I can make happen and all the plugins and stuff, I can give that to people. And then hope that you can run with that and whatever else you do with your life so that you can find your way to a place of, comfort and ease. Hey, Calbless. Hey, yeah, I was at a con. Had a wonderful time. I was going to tell you folks about some of the experiences at this con. And by that, I don't mean like naughty experiences and the old cat going out and being frisky, although I wouldn't have said no, but things didn't really work out quite that way. Or rather, I wouldn't have said no if it was the right situation. I'm single. I'm allowed to do stuff like that, but I need it to be right and going in a healthy way. Otherwise, I nope out of there. So yeah, among the musicians I jammed with were, by the way, would you like, how about I do the sleeping this time? Among the musicians were some folks that I knew quite well. A couple of different people where I caught up with them at a con and had a mad jam session, usually one where they were playing. For two of these folks, they were playing rhythm guitar, typically on an acoustic, and I was playing single note leads on my $350 Les Paul that I hot rodded. Oh, Darren, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Well, I mean, with the car payment now more than ever, and I can play single note leads over about anything. It's really hard to shake me. And that was made more clear, actually, I think it was a couple of years back, if not maybe last year, maybe a couple of years back first, was a furry showed up. This is a sort of, I'm thinking of how to describe, a cheetah furry. A cheetah furry who was going around in a Little Red Riding Hood costume some of the time, but then also just as their natural self rest of the time, and was a church organist. So jamming with a church organist who is trying to learn how to jam in sort of the more jazzy sense is a real interesting workout. Because they could play real fast and play all this crazy Bach sounding stuff. But then when it got into, I never can remember the Latin term for it, like obligato or whatever, the improvisational part of it. It is a thing that you can write into a score, where it's like, okay, the score now has this word in it, and it's a Latin word, which means you start jamming out, but still in the same theme. So this person can do that, and had not jammed with any other people, because name me 5 guitar players who can jam along with some freaking Bach playing. And the speed of the notes was definitely cheetah, believe me. Who's going into all these different keys and just like key changing and permutating, and it sounds like a fully written thing, but it's just being jammed. It's just there. Garth Hudson is the closest example I can think of. And oh, another fancy, look at that. So there's that. This is simply an unbreaking. I could combine that with this. Oh, we have another guy. You're just going to have to wander around. And oh, the other. Look at that. The llama's following the trader. Okay, you guys go and do your own thing. Find your way back to the mainland. Be good. So as it turns out, I can jam to Bach sound and stuff that's changing keys all the time. And when I do that, everybody is kind of odd, but then I'm kind of awed by this furry anyhow, with the cheetah Bach jamming thing. It's wild. It's really cool sounding. Like, to be able to basically to be able to do that, you have to continually be seeking what the new key is going to be, because they're coming at you really fast. But also I end up being like doom 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 doom. It's like being a cello or whatever. I'm not playing fast, but the exciting part is that I'm able to keep up at all. Like I can hear when the new keys hit, and then what I play goes along with that. Even if I'm starting to switch around my fingering or whatever, I can generally hear like, okay, that's clearly a minor third, and so I can feel where that is. And then I go with it. And it sounds like I'm a genius. It sounds like I'm just like, oh my God, he's telepathic. No, I heard a third. I heard a minor third, or I heard a major third, and I went with it. Then after a half an hour of this, it's been amazing, which it always is with this furry. And I'm being distracted by noises from the dumb trader. I should go and find out if they have anything I even want, honestly. I can't see you through this. I could try to fish him this direction. Is that going to work? Come this way, sir. Come this way. Come on. That worked. You are standing in the middle of sugarcane, meaning that I can't actually talk to you. And I'd like to see what kind of stuff you've got. I can push him out of the sugarcane. That's irritating. Tell you what, this sugarcane is going to go away so that I can talk to you. What kind of... Oh, that's interesting. I could probably find packed ice. Oh, mangrove? Interesting. I could grow that, but I don't know much about them. It could be fun. Mangrove. None of this other stuff is worth a damn. And hay bales. Well, I don't have those. Let's see if I have 5 of these. Because if I have 5 of these, I bet I could plant a mangrove. That might be fun. I haven't finished the story about the cheetah furry, by the way, just in case you were wondering. I'll get there. Oh, God. I am not going to be short of emeralds, I tell you. Where are my chests? Can I put all of this stuff away? Or a bunch of this stuff away? Like this, and that, and that, and that, and that. In order to get whole bunches of emeralds. Give me mangroves. I want mangroves. Come on. Yes, I hear you. You guys kind of need to be out of... You're going to get your asses killed. Not you. You. Get out of the way. I'm trying to kill the... Okay, well, they took out one of the guy's llamas. Where did you go with your mangrove stuff? I hear you, but I don't see you. Or have my parent just learned how to talk? Dude. No, he's playing around in my house. Well, I can keep you stuck there anyway. Actually, no, they can open doors. I can't. Hey, buddy, you coming down here to do some enchanting? Or are you going up there? Wonder if he'll jump off the roof. Let's talk about mangroves, bro. Let's talk mangroves. He's like, woohoo, yeah, me too. Give me some mangroves. Oh, now we can't get any more of them. Give me some packed ice. What? Well, I'm keeping you around. You're too amusing. But I'm not sure if I'm that thrilled with your llamas, but whatever. I am absolutely going to... What else can we do? I'm not short on these. I'll grab some acacias. What's it gonna be that makes you want to... Vines? Alrighty. Where do you even go? You know what? Okay, we now have to jump off the roof in order to leave. But I want to see what else this guy can make now that I've got a bunch of weird mangrove stuff. Oh, believe me, I'm not short of time. I bet I did. I bet I did. And I don't know what's going on down there, but I don't want to find out. What garbage do I have that I can simply drop? How about fishes that can't be eaten? A whole passel of those can be eaten. Pass the night so we don't risk losing Mr. Dude. I could just stick him in a room, honestly. Also, I feel like maybe my parrot is making these mischievous noises. I need to start dumping some of this stuff out of my inventory. I didn't even get to finish my story, but that's fine. Let's just ditch a whole bunch of stuff that I know I'm not interested in. Is he a special villager? He's pretty special. He is a special enough trader in that he's got weird things like mangrove, which I look forward to seeing what those are about. Oh, I didn't need that. So let's see, what can I just throw into the sea? Into the sea with you. Carpet, into the sea. Sugarcane I had dealt with because I had broken those because the guy was standing in them. So this is a fine time for me to place it back. Also, either my parrot has learned a new thing or somebody is building an annoy Chris thing. Which I do not... Oh, and I can't get in here from there. Well, I'll get back in somehow. Figure it out. Like I do have vines. I'll figure it out. I'm almost getting to the point where I need to go and scoot to the restroom again. All of that coffee. Mind that you don't build any way of getting in here which lets Mr. Villager guy get out. Or are we beating up the... Yeah, that seems unkind. Oh, are you going to just jump? Or can I negotiate with you from down here on the roof? Is that a possibility? He says, but I'm not sure I believe him. Can I click on you from there? No. What about if I am over here and place a single block? What then? It doesn't work quite well enough. I'm a little concerned that he will drop, but... Hi. How many of these damn things do I need to get for you to unlock some new stuff? Let's make some flowers. Let's have all the flowers. Do I have to unlock all the things, or do I have to trade you some stuff in order to unlock new stuff? Do I have any potatoes? Let's find out. Don't mess with Mr. Dude. I'm trying to unlock a thing. That's my new... Oh, I have to get in here in order to do that. Well, we can do that. Temporary door removal are us. There it goes, in case he makes a break for it. Do I have potatoes? That's bread. Do I have potatoes? It's a good question. That or hay bales, and I don't know if I have hay bale. Maybe I do. He'll take hay bales. Yeah, I still have not finished that story. I have become distracted by this. Which is fine, just maybe a little tiresome. You mean a boat on the roof or a boat somewhere else? Let's find out. Well, if I fail, then well, no, I don't need that anymore. If you would like to help move him somewhere where I can get at him more easily, I'd be perfectly happy with that. If you're full on the move the guy for me, put him around here somewhere. I'll build a house around him. I no longer need to have this house be the villager containment thing. I'm just incredibly curious as to what I can unlock from the guy. What are they doing? You guys fighting each other? Boop. Yeah, you can park him around here somewhere. And I will just use something or other to enclose him, and I'll build a little house around him eventually. Oh, well, Cal bless, bear in mind we just did the autism symptoms thing. And that's one of the things that you can end up dealing with, is the fact that executive function means you can get derailed. So tell you what, I am going to put that back and then trust Pink Sounds to complete that process. Well, let's open these doors so that the other llama can wander out. At some point I'm going to get hay or baked potatoes so that I can see whether you have to have him give you emeralds before he unlocks other things and clears stuff. But, so, Cheetah Organist story. I told you about how, how is this doing? Maybe I used it improperly by like grabbing a bunch of stuff that wasn't giving me XP, and that's why it started to use up. The follow-up to Cheetah Organist story, which is one of several that I have from that con, was after a half an hour of that jamming, I was like, and as a joke, and I can grab a guitar and do this too. Give me a moment. I'll grab the one that I used. Oh no, I'll grab an acoustic. Ain't even tuning in. This is the acoustic I brought to the con. And I'd be doing that for like a half an hour over all these different keys. So I was tired. So as a joke, I started doing this. And I stopped. I was like, okay, sorry, that was just a joke. And the cheetah went, no, keep going. I want to play your music too. Keep going. Don't stop. So I'm like, okay, because that's not his jam. And he's going, he's playing like Baroque stuff over it. It's not working. And then I figured it out. I went, no. These are triplets. Listen. And this guy started ripping triplets under that, and all of a sudden it was Garth Hudson. All of a sudden it was like the band keyboardist shredding over my little, in this case it was the Les Paul with a little battery amp that was slightly crunchy, and it was astonishing. It was just boom, instantly there, instantly amazing, and that was an incredibly rewarding experience because it was helping somebody find a musical place that they valued and liked and wanted to learn. And I was there for the moment of realization when it's like, oh, it's triplets. Or, look, it's becoming nighttime. Things are going to go after the trapped villager in a moment, so we'll stop that happening. And it was absolutely so cool because it sounded exactly right. It was still the same basic kind of stuff because he's learned how to listen for things like keys and stuff. Whether it's major or minor is not difficult for him. But the rhythmic stuff doesn't come naturally to a classical guy. And just by realizing, wait, I am playing triplets, unlocked that for him. And all of a sudden, it was just... It could have even been while wearing the Red Riding Hood costume, the cheetah Red Riding Hood costume. I don't remember exactly because it wasn't the key thing that I was interested in at the time. But there was also jamming using the... It's particularly funny jamming with the furry who was like in suit or in costume, because in some ways it's like, how can you even tell what you're doing? Can I find any potatoes? Can I find any hay bales? Do I have the makings for making grass and wheat and hay bales? Oh, I do. Look at this. That's wheat. And here's more. I bet I can make hay bales, and that might unlock this for me. Let's find out. Beautiful. This should work. But that got me only 9. Okay, fair. Yeah, you can't actually do it with pause. You have to have your fingers available. Hi. Alrighty, moment of truth. Can we trade with the trader and have him unlock something? Hey. Now you hit me. Now you're fucked. Don't you dare. You go ahead as long as you don't attack the... Okay. We are no longer a llama safe zone. All y'all that are attacking me are in for it. Oh no. Did they somehow manage to kill the dog? No. No, we have not killed the dog. Dog is going back where dog was. Come on. I will keep the llamas away from you. That was... Getting spit at was what was making him mad. Now... Hose. Is there a empty spot in there that I can get in? Let's find out. Nope, sealed in. That's more or less what I needed, yes. Hi. Oh, do I not have to have anything in my hand? Fine. Guess what? Pfft. One hay bale? Seriously? Okay, let's just unlock every single thing you've got. Nope, need more of those. We're going to empty all of his stuff and see if that helps. Do I really need to get baked potatoes? Have you got any potatoes, Big Sense? Dog is back, Stacia sleeps, probably is you. Yes, indeed. I don't think I have any taters, but I bet I know a place that might. Oh, look at all the mending books. Guess that's where those came from, huh? Well, I'm just trying to figure out what I need to get this guy to unlock new trades and open up the ones that he's got. Yeah, correct, Jonathan. Like, Bach was able to do what this cheetah was doing. So that's one of three things that were exceptional moments. And I'm going to quickly... Okay, here's a flower. Here's another couple of flowers. That's fine. Also, we'll put these things there. Grow them up later. I really do not think I have potatoes, but I bet I know a place that might. I'll go back to spawn and see if any of those are. I didn't think you had to empty a trader out of every single possible trade they could make in order to have them be legit for... Yes, good. Tether this guy away from Puppy because they attack each other and then somebody has to go. You're right. Okay, I had a boat here, but I don't anymore, so I better go to find where I do have a boat. Rough indeed. Well, you may rough. I sided with you against the mean llama. That should count for something. Oh, pretty flowers. Very good. That worked, but it wasn't what I was trying to do. Also, I should probably check here before I go farther. It is just possible that some of the foodstuffs and things that we have are actually here, in which case I'm pretty sure I have a license to use. Don't see any potatoes there. I will have to bake them as well. Or there, although there's Nautilus shells could make something, I'm sure. Ooh, a cartography table. Neat. That is some kind of cool thing. This is what I'm doing throughout. The server is just putting weird stuff in places, letting people have it. If you start off here, you should be able to get a lovely start off of just random stuff like that string that you can use to make things that are useful to you. Yeah, that is something which it sounds like it would be good for you to specialize in, because these days, like getting started now is a combination of a really alarming scenario and also maybe not that rough. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of people getting started who want to just lean on like social media popularity or AI or whatever rather than learn to do anything. So you can get a good leg up just by becoming interested in stuff and getting good at things rather than assuming that you can use like cheaty ways that aren't actually helpful. I do feel like it will be possible for people to do just fine by doing what I've always done, which is be extremely interested in things and get good at the stuff that I care about. And then the straight up grind is completely accurate, like at the convention that I went to. My musical involvement with other convention goers was very much like straight up grind. I was showing up and putting in the hours and getting the opportunity to be delighted by what people were doing. And the enthusiasm is part of that. But the time and energy put into it counts as grind. Now let's see. Do we have potatoes that we can bake in order to try to unlock this crazy guy who is not refreshing any of his trades, as if I have to clear all of them? That's just what I already had. I do not need to look for new things in an ender chest that lives in a new place. Eddie was here. No whitelist. Correct. Correct, Eddie. I guess we'll find out whether you're a griefer making things bad for people or whether you are another friendly person. Here's where I would like to check for potatoes, if they are available. Those are not potatoes. These are. Score. I should even be able to plant a couple of them while still having enough to go by. Cool. That's exactly what I needed. I am pleased. And replant those, run to where hopefully a bed is. Yep, still got one. I'm going to scoot back, and then I'm going to run to my restroom again, sadly. Old man drinking too much coffee and needing to swim back home, firstly. Use my lovely boat, get where I'm going. Serialism, you say. Jonathan is studying serialism. That is a compositional thing, if I'm not mistaken. Do you mean the one where you have to use all 12 notes? And I am aware of pretty much all the Star Trek. I've just never been a super fan of it. I have my favorites. Like, as far as Star Trek is concerned, one of my favorite Star Trek things that's ever been done is the Deep Space Nine episode, The Wire. It is so cool. Deep Space Nine, The Wire. Let's see. Can I come through here? There's a bridge. That's nice. I think I'm going to go around. Deep Space Nine, The Wire, is the episode where Garrick, the quote-unquote simple tailor, the Cardassian on the station, it touches on so many interesting things because it's like wild Cold War spook spy stuff, but it's also addiction, and it's also incredible acting. You could say overacting if you wanted to be unkind about it, but it's like amazing. And it is Garrick has been using a sort of built-in thing to his brain that's meant to let him endure torture by just turning on the pleasure centers of his brain, like, drugs, basically. And he's living with the Bajorans, who all hate him, and nobody really believes his crap about being a simple tailor. So essentially, he just turned the feel-good device on one day and never turned it off until it started to break. So then you have a Cardassian who is a simple tailor but is actually some kind of former amazing spy, completely falling apart and breaking down, and getting in touch with all of the feelings that he has suppressed, including his rage about how he had been like next to the head of the Obsidian Order, the darkest Cardassian spy ring. And wow, the way that he comes apart, the way that he's like going through brutal withdrawals. Bashir is trying to help him, and he's just pissed off about it. And he's telling all of these stories about a brother, Elam, who's doing all of these things. By the way, I'm going to scoot over to, let's see, the house, and I am going to, find my way through the bamboo, hopefully, so that I can get inside and take a brief break to use my facilities. Won't be a moment. Be where I can get to the bed too. Alrighty, I'll be right back. Alrighty. So yeah, to continue the story from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Wire. So Garrick is coming apart at the seams. He was supposed to be, oh look, that's interesting. A corridor. Didn't expect that. He has been living on the space station, surrounded by Bajorans who all hate him because he's basically like an SS man. And he's been using this thing implanted into his brain to be happy and nice all the time, no matter what they act like around him. Let's see what some of these other things are. Do I have anything else in here? No? Put that back. So Garrick is going through DTs. He's going to die if this thing isn't fixed. Bashir goes to his former boss, who knows everything about Bashir because he's just creepy that way, and said former boss agrees. Well, let me, that's actually the final thing. I'll tell that last. And Garrick is doing these meltdowns. He's like freaking out. He's flying into rages. He's raging against himself, because there was this time on the station when he was responsible for taking Bajoran terrorists and whatever, and bringing them to death camps or whatever. And there was this one group of Bajorans, and they were simply children. They knew nothing. They had nothing. No, is that enough for you? I have taken literally everything you have. What does it take for you to go bida-bing? I have trade still. I guess I don't know. If anybody wants to figure that one out, that's fine. For now, we are good. I can't do anything further with this trader. I'm going to plant a mangrove tree and call it a day. So Garrick is telling this story about how there were these Bajoran orphans, and they were starving, and they stank, and he was cold and hungry, and his tummy hurt, and all he wanted to do was just be done with it all, and he let them go. And his brother Elam saw this, and he thought he could make himself safe by betraying Elam to the Obsidian Order, only to find out that Elam had gone and betrayed him first. And so he's exiled to the station with nothing, and he's destroyed everything that he ever had by this moment of what to him is awful weakness for no useful purpose, that's just being dumb and helping unhuman refugees, blah, 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 blah. And he goes through a thing of like, he just wants Bashir to believe him. He's telling the story. He's been telling all these stories. They all contradict each other. They go increasingly dramatic. And he's like, no, I'm dying. I want somebody to believe me. And he's going back and forth with all. It's really well staged. I'm not doing that good of a job at staging how it went down. But his drama ramps up so much. And he's finally told the story about he let Bajoran children go rather than sending them to a death camp. And this is his great sin. The great sin for this guy was that he showed mercy. And he's just trying to frame it to himself now. He's just trying to get over his guilt for doing this. Figure out like who he is and what he even wants anymore. So the doctor goes to Cardassia and is able to meet with the head of the Obsidian Order, supposedly the person who was his boss, if any of that was true. It's supposed to be that that was his boss, and he was betrayed by his brother Elam. So the doctor goes to Cardassia, talks with this man. The man was like, I will give you the replacement so that Elam can live a long life. You may have the replacement parts to put him back together again. The doctor's like, oh, that's very merciful. And the guy goes, no. He's exiled to a place that he hates, where everyone hates him, and I want him to experience that hate for as long as possible. And the doctor goes, like, that's a pretty sentiment. Oh, it's it's authentic, I assure you. And so he goes back, but before he goes back, the doctor tells him some of this stuff about Elam and his guilt from letting Bajoran children go and stuff. And the Obsidian Order man goes, "Ah, that's Garrick for you. Never tell the truth when a lie will do." So Bashir goes, "What? So it wasn't true?" "Oh, no. No, there's lots of truth in that, but he's omitted to tell you one thing. Elam is Garrick's first name." It's amazing. It's such an amazing episode. Oh my god. It's dark, but it's also so powerful. And the weird part is that this Garrick is probably getting something out of becoming, you could say, more human, befriending Bashir and stuff. There's a time when he's like having tea with Bashir all the time, and he's nice as pie, but then when he's going through withdrawals, there's a time when he is raging at everybody and raging at himself and raging at Bashir, and he's like, "I hate all of this stuff, and I hate how cold it is, and I hate you going and having tea and seeing your face day after day." And it's so fiercely done, and Bashir's just like, "All right, but we're still going to get you through the withdrawals." Oh my god, it's such an intense episode. So I'm not exactly a Star Trek fan per se. Plenty of it is interesting and cool. Ooh, book. What did I get for a book? Piercing, neat. But that episode has just, like, whoa. The episode The Wire from Star Trek Deep Space Nine is an amazing piece of work. In all the coolest ways, because it's like they're building on stuff that's been already made and just running with it and going to such extraordinary lengths with it. Like taking that story places that you would not imagine in the most intensely high drama. I simply can't recommend it enough. You may harvest all of the bamboo you like, especially if you put bits of it back. I have all the time in the world to grow more. I just did that because I like harvesting lots of bamboo. It's been a minute. Has this guy... Is this jerk even here? Where'd he go? Pink Sounds, did you do something with the dude? That's a bit of a letdown. I guess I have the mangroves. There is nobody in this boat, I think. Unless the dog ate him. Did you eat him? It looks like he did, yes. I never found out what he was going to add to his repertoire. Well, we'll just take all this stuff up now. Oh, did he? Okay, well, in that case, I will never know what new thing he added, but I got all of the mangrove stuff that he had as long as he was there. I got to find out whether I can grow that. That was at least amusing. And I can grow some acacias while I'm at it. Those make interesting colored wood. Rough to you, too. That's exactly how I feel about it. Oh, fancy iron pick. Will do. I assume it can still grow in areas like this, and it's more a matter of going to the biome where it is before you can do anything about that. But presumably it can still grow in like normal places. You're funny. I don't have any bones on me right now. Although I suppose I could feed you. Do you eat these? Is it bad for you? He does eat rotten foods. Or at least zombie. He eats zombie. Cool. Let me see about that. Do you need a 2x2, or is one of them suffice? I could put them all away. Put them away somewhere. Oh, yep, indeed he has. He seemed quite happy about that too. Yeah, I'll tame dogify him at my convenience if I feel like it. Okay, did I put him here? No. Did I put him there? No. How about... No? Yes. And I can always grab the achachas and such. Various flowers. Cool beans. Night is coming on. Oh, Calblast, you're thinking about Darmok. I know that. See, I might not be the biggest Star Trek fan, but my dad was. And my dad was very into, like, largely Next Generation more than anything else, but he was already enjoying Star Trek back in the days of the original series, because he was around for that, so... Have I missed something? Did the night pass without me noticing it? No, it's noon. We're fine. Boop. Okay, let's see how that goes, how that gets on. It'll be amusing to see what I can get out of these. Maybe mangroves will turn out to be a enjoyable batch of... Oh, look at all the bamboo I've got in blocks down here. That's a lot of blocks of bamboo. Also, how is my weird chicken thing coming on? Yeah, Darmok and Tanad. At Chanagra? I may have that slightly wrong. Yeah, so one thing I can do is I can give that dog a Viking funeral by setting him loose in there. What'll happen is the same as when I had a cat that I allowed to get into that space. They go crazy attacking all of the creatures and then end up either getting killed by something. I don't know exactly what. Maybe they peck the poor thing to death, but they go out in a Viking blaze of glory. Like, rah! So that's kind of amusing. Well, it's amusing if you're kind of twisted, I guess. It's taken so long for the lava stuff to wear out of this. You could do so much with the lava in this. Yeah, the whole Darmok thing is basically like, they speak only in metaphors. I know it doesn't make sense. Get used to it. Deal with it. That's just how they are. And it's an interesting, because people's whole worldviews can vary pretty much about that much, to the point where it's almost Darmok-like, that you're trying to connect with people, but their whole way of approaching things is so very different that it's almost like it's Darmok all over again. Oh, another puppy. Oh, this one is tamed. And with red trim. Very good. Oh, can I feed you cooked chicken? Yes, I can. Don't know if I can feed llamas anything or would even care to. Well, not to make you feel lonely, let's feed you cooked chicken too. There you go. Rough. I'm not placing Derek Jacob up. Cowboy says yes, I would. Yep. I will defer to your judgment on that. I am frustrated that I couldn't get more packed ice out of that guy. There's only so much of it that you can get. If he had refreshed his trades, I would have gotten more. But you need so much packed ice to do certain things. Like super fast railways and stuff. You do a too high area where the floor is packed ice and the ceiling is, I don't know whether that also needs to be packed ice. And then you run and jump and you can wind up going at absolutely light speed. Crazy. In the nicest of ways. Just choom. That's enjoyable. That, of course, is one of the things that's exciting about the car that I'm picking up. I still can kind of hardly believe it. And the payment I'm taking on, which I can all too easily believe, is the 20% cooler factor. The fact that not only am I speccing into the stereo I need rather than trying to do it myself and ruining the trade-in value, but it also is the 20% more powerful. So I don't zip around, but if I wanted to, it would be able to without me doing a thing about it. And it's not fully a WRX or WRX STI, meaning that it shouldn't cost me that much more or necessarily any more on my insurance. Oh, still have not grown. It's possible I need to do more than simply plant it in the middle of grass, but if so, I will eventually figure it out. Back to regular old fishing. I should cook all of those. I will cook all those fish at some point. Yeah, no, I'm an enormous Subaru fan, so this is a happy day for me. Oh, I could probably do that. I think I have some bone meal and some. I'll give it a try. Here, we don't have. Oh, we do have something coming for this, but I bet it's another fish. I'm going to go and grab my bones, make bone meal, and give it a try. I will happily use all the bone meal I got because there can always be more just by hunting down skellies. And there's some more. And that appears to be it, but we'll see whether that is a suitable amount. 25 bone meal. Let's see whether that will do. Ooh. Well, that's cool. Oh my God. That's kind of crazy. These do not look like solid trunks. Okay, vine time, I think. I do have some vines on me, so let's use those. Let's climb all into this and see what it's made of. I feel like I could get lots of cool things out of it. So I'm liking that. Let's get up into the middle of this mangrove. Almost there. I think that is actual mangrove wood too. And in theory, breaking these will end up dropping stuff now and then, unless I am mistaken. Yeah, this is a cool thing. Darren, I have tried those before. In fact, my road trip to the con was in a Nissan Altima, and there were some amazing and very respectable things about it. Yeah, the thing, I've already got a down payment on this car. They have brought it to the dealership. They are looking at it, or have been looking at it, and I need to log off in about 55 minutes and get ready to head over there to leave with them the $500 car that I've been driving in for the last nearly 10 years and pick up the new one, which will be mine, with a massive bunch of car loan stuff for me to deal with. But I feel like that is doable and I'll be able to handle it. But yeah, I did not drive to Memphis in a Subaru. I drove to Memphis in a Nissan, specifically a Nissan Altima. But one of the things that I knew about was that I think at some point previously I had either rented. Oh, I should get my here. Let me calm back. And then if I see actual vines, I can pick the vines up. That's worth doing. I'm still interested in whether this will drop mangrove saplings and things, although I do actually, excuse me, I know I killed your compatriots, but that was because they were being rude. See where I have my shears, not here. Shears, shears. Hello, shears. I can make more of them, but I don't feel I should have to. Okay. Don't have any fishes in there, but I do have some fishes in here. These are all cluttered with stuff now. It is very sad. I can make shears out of that. And I'm puzzled as to where I have shears. Oh, here's a good place to drop off some of these flowers and things. All of the things. I feel like I don't have any shears anymore, but we can fix that. Boom. Oh, I wouldn't have a champagne bottle. I ain't drunk in 30 years. And yeah, I know the kind of car you're talking about. And yes, you wouldn't be able to break that with the champagne bottle. Subarus are going to be a little more flimsy than that, I feel. Probably be very worth running for long periods of time and all, but all the same, you wouldn't smash a bottle out of it unless you wanted to break it. There we go. Oh, there was a, oh, there's a vine on that too. And we are dropping some things because that just dropped a single piece of stick. So where are our other bits of vine? There's one. Lovely. There's going to be vine all over, but it's not necessarily going to be that easy to get at. We needn't worry. I should probably harvest some of these just in general principles for sort of decorating purposes. They're a form of landscaping that looks different from your regular ordinary vines. Interesting. Random bit of... oh, I see how this is spaced out. Oh, and that got me another vine. It does seem like there's a lot of different kinds of blocks in here. Seems cool. We definitely have a angle-shaped wood going on, that it's going up in a diagonal. See, the more of this I do, the less of these leaf blocks I'm breaking. Oh, that's delicate. So I should probably let some of them break, or simply break them rather than keeping them all. It's 42. I don't think I need any more shrubberies than that, so that's fine. Hi, hi. Oh, does that work better? Gotta love the diamond hoe for whatever reason. It's the funniest joke. Oh, same drop rate. Okay, let's find out. See how that works. Oh, I see. So if you use this, you can go through the leaves just as fast, but they will actually have drops, rather than with the shears, you can go through them that fast, but you only get blocks. Fair. Alrighty. And if I get all of the wood out of there, then the blocks will despawn all by themselves. But I will also have to go and find all of the blocks because I don't honestly know how these are built. And you're probably going to want to go down. In fact, I'm going to want to go down because it is nighttime. But I can see if anything useful dropped. Oh, yes, something did. Alrighty. So now that you're down out of the tree, I can go through the process of trying to get all the blocks I want out of it, which is largely going to be wood. I've already got enough leaf blocks. What I don't know is what else. Or I don't know how any of this is built. I have never seen this tree before. So essentially I need to clear out all of the remaining wood blocks and hopefully pick them up. Which means that large chunks of tree are going to become uninhabitable. Because it'll all... I have a trunk over there which is adequate. But then this quickly becomes all eroding. And see if I can safely get over to the other trunk while I'm at it. See if I do this correctly. All this stuff will start despawning, and if I figured it out, a lot of this just despawns itself. Provided, of course, I have all the logs I need to get. And going straight up and down may or may not do that. I know what I'll do. I'll get all the logs I can find and go down this trunk until there is nothing left. I'm losing a little bit of vine. So let me grab those while I'm at it. I can always make more vine. Vine's not a problem. Vine's easy. Aha! So I can also, Interesting, what's going on here? These roots are interesting. What do you got to do to get them? Looks like you can mine them up. Perhaps chop them? Yeah, I'll deal with that later. They're not despawning because they're not leaves. But they're a neat sort of semi-hollow thing. I like it. This is a good use of a diamond hoe, but it sure tears through it. It tears through it just as fast as it would a shears. But I like the idea of getting to drop the drops because it's not wasting the drops. Sounds like the puppy over there is like, this is exciting. Let me play with it. Good, good. Going along. Now, do we need anything special to grab these? Nope, looks good. I bet that's moss and not simply carpet. I like that. And now I see where the these despawn. Or can get mined up. Yep, I think this is a enormous success. This provides all kinds of neat blocks, including these moss blocks, of which there's plenty. And I bet these won't despawn all by themselves, which suits me. I'm happy with that. So I must needs climb up and chop them down. And that's how you get them. They probably also work as logs, honestly. These are potentially neat building blocks because they act like logs, but you can see through them. So I'm down with that. Ruff, says the dog. Cop Rage update releasing soon. I could. It's mostly not me playing here. Honestly, I'm not sure how often there is anybody playing here, but when there is, it's probably not me, and it's probably not that often. I feel like people typically will log on when I do, which is understandable. It's just that all too often I'm not actually spending the effort to do it because I have so much plugin making to do. But I like the idea of people being able to play it. I was letting it, there I go, waiting too long, all of a sudden that's not there. Yeah, I let the furry server know from the con that I went to. I don't think anybody showed up, but I will let it be known that that is something that people can do. It is available all the time. Calbus Moral Compass question time. Do you think it's okay to help a police officer with their fursona avatar? We're talking Russia. That's a very complicated question, and you're going to have to do your best with what you're comfortable with around it. I would not look askance at you for making either choice. Because it's like, that's a situation that's as weird as our situation is here, because you've basically brought it here. Or the people who are running your country have brought it here. You personally have not, to the best of my knowledge. By the same token, it's possible that the police officer has not or is not trying to be... if they're making fursonas, maybe they're already a little bit like, what am I doing with my life? And the answer can be very simple. I was making excuses on Blue Sky because people were being deeply disgusted with, like, Bill Gates and Tim Cook showing up to the White House and basically socially smooching with Trump. And I was like, these people have a fiduciary duty and they are trying to not have their companies be punished unreasonably, which is absolutely something that would happen. So I said, I will reserve my vitriol for people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and what's the Moldbug guy's name, Curtis Yarvin, who were actively thinking up and trying to execute horrible stuff rather than people who are trying to run a giant, enormous company and have faults of their own to answer to. But as far as, like, they're not necessarily in a position. Ooh, look. I got another bow? Was it another? No, I got a cursive vanishing fishing rod. Yeah, how about you go for a swim? I don't think any curse will actually activate unless I used it, but I did not use that. I just threw it away. That's like the worst enchantment you could run into. It's like, hi, no benefit, but also it's cursed. I do not know whether that gave me the curse of vanishing just by temporarily having it, but I'll find out. So yeah, and Jonathan, to what you were saying about there, this is one of the hard lessons. All people are to some extent like that, including the ones that are doing bad stuff. There are lots of people who are actively engaged in absolutely horrifying things, and they've rationalized it to themselves one way or another. It's simple human nature, which can be a daunting, dismaying thing. But it is simple human nature. You can't really go by, okay, they are the good people because they will do any sacrifice rather than be dragged into despot horrible business. It's like people are just trying to be alive. And people are also foolish and easily fooled. My own interpretation of all of this stuff could be completely screwed up and wrong. I don't know. I feel like I've probably got a lot of this stuff figured out because I pay attention, but I could be completely wrong. Nobody is immune from, like, failing to understand things properly. I should put some of this stuff where it will serve the most purpose, like in a chest. So there's some mangrove logs, there's some vines, there's some mangrove leaves, and the roots are the ones that interest me because I feel I can do useful stuff with that. And we got moss carpet. So very cool. If I still have, I could set another one of these up anytime just with more bone meal. That seems like it might be fun. So I'll get that going in my last half hour of stream. And now I'm going to harvest all this bamboo so I have room for the mangroves to grow. A giant axolotl is having a child tantrum. Yeah. I mean, it's an element of... Oh, I remember. It's the sword that really goes through these like a knife through butter. Probably going to have to empty my damn inventory to be able to do this. It's like cutting down rows of logs, except for strangely even more fun. And wow, does that work. Let's go and deal with this situation. Yeah, a fellow who was here earlier was doing a... Oh, can't do that just yet. Was doing a dedicated Christian thing. And depending upon his other choices, I respect that. It's possible that he makes other choices that I don't like, but on the whole, I think there is worthy stuff and a fair bit of that. Oh, those are completely full already, so there's no point in me keeping it. Oh, I bet I stuck my enchanted... If I didn't before, I can now. Enchanted books go down here. And there was... I could be imagining it or misremembering, because it's not like I sit around reading that book, but apparently there's a Bible verse or something related, like some Bible adjacent thing, Christianity adjacent thing, which is a saying that speaks, oh, not you, that's the curse of vanishing one. And it's either a Bible, again, Bible adjacent or a Bible verse of some kind. And the saying is, do not despair, one of the thieves was saved. Do not presume, one of the thieves was damned. And that's some heavy business, but I think there's a lot of truth to it. All you can do is the best you can. And don't be too arrogant about being good, because we can be fooled. You do the best you can. And sometimes it's very difficult. And sometimes maybe it's not that complicated. But doing the best you can doesn't make you good personified. It's just what we can do when we try. Also, I think a bunch of the real horribleness that people can get up to is self-limiting. Especially when it comes to, like, the mess that Trump and his people are making of this country, because I'm still very sure, and again, I could be wrong, but I'm very sure that all of that is, Russian spook stuff from way back. It's just the Cold War. It's always been the Cold War. There's always been lots of that. Oh my God, I have so many of these now. Well, let's often do that. And the thing about running this has also come to mind as the stories of, like, Trump's magic little present for, you know what, I should ditch some of these things. Can I? Do I have space to ditch some of these things without, don't need to be carrying all of this while I'm trying to do other things. There we go. We'll get through this. I have far too many of these. But that's why I planted them, was to have them. Yeah. All right. See you later. Yeah, and what I'm telling you, Cowplus, is you can't really know whether that person is good or not. You can only do the best that you can by your personal bearings and the best sense you can make of it. I would not think ill of you if you tried to be kind to that person. To me, it makes sense to be like, okay, well, here's me being me and doing what I can, and I can either be horrible to this person, or I can see whether they're... I mean, it takes all kinds. It just does. One of the things I would point out to you particularly as, like, I don't know how you describe yourself, but a Russian hippie leftist or something. I can't even tell. Early on, I decided, like, I meet you on the grounds of being a musician, and I have no idea what your actual values are. If you reveal... I've had people who were presumably Americans hanging around in chat and revealing values that I didn't appreciate, and I was just like, nope, we don't hang out like that here. I didn't ban them. I was just like, here's why you're wrong. Here's why I'm going to reject the things that you're saying. And they lost interest and left. But yeah, we don't get to know all ends. And we don't get to know that because we mean well, it's going to come out well. But we can do the best we can. I'm very good. And I'm pretty content with that, honestly. I'm pretty content with, like, well, there's limitations. I cannot claim ultimate virtue. And, oh God, that's complicated. There's a lot of stuff in here. What even is this? I thought it might be empty, but it is not. And we can... I'm being a little chaotic here, but it's fine. I thought I put those elsewhere. I think I did. I think I have more of those that are elsewhere. I can go for cherry blossoms. Cherry and mangrove. Would that be interesting? Isn't that a... I can do cherry mangrove hybrids or pretend to. Here we go. Okay, I swear to God I had those mangrove saplings somewhere. I think I just moved them elsewhere in the box. Dum-de-dum. Oh, no, I thought that was grass or something, but it's mangrove. Dee-dee. And dee-dee. Which means these can go over here. And there's room for them. Which means we can increase these stacks of this. And that should be fine. And yeah, about a half an hour, and I go pick up a nifty car, which might be the last time anybody really gets to do that kind of thing, because they're not going to get any cheaper next year. We're looking at some mess coming for everybody. That's largely why I'm worried about it not being a fixed price mortgage, because if that gets to change, I might be in trouble there. But if I'm in trouble, I'll figure it out as it comes. If I'm in trouble, there's a lot of other people who are going to be in bigger trouble sooner. And how nice that I got mangroves going. That seems cool. A lot of thorny sweet berries I could put out. This is sort of gardening area. I don't have enough chests. I really should organize some of that stuff. I just haven't. Full-on cobblestone chest, if anybody wants that. Well, hang on. They do grow all by themselves. It didn't become huge, but I didn't do anything to that one. Well, heck, if that works, I can plant a bunch of them out. Hey, I've got a new visitor. Now, that could be a griefer, in which case there would be lots of rebuilding to do later. Or it could be one of my furry friends. Or just random person noticing that I'm streaming, and I have made it visible as to where this is. So if it's somebody who came because I'm streaming, you can hear me. Otherwise, hello. I don't think it really counts as making you regret if we're just kind of here and this server only costs me the electricity to run it. So no real worries. I'm only here to just sort of build weird things, and I can do that over again from the scratch if I need to. Oh yeah, these grow all by themselves. We're going to make a little mangrove grove. They'll end up filling up this whole central area. I might need to move Puppy over to somewhere more safe. Pupper's going to get worried as trees grow on top of him. So let's... Come on. Ooh. I know, you can guard my roof. Don't be scared. We'll have a barking parrot too. That's amusing. Come on. Come on. Very good. Plant that. And there you go. If it gets too rainy, I'll build a roof so you can have a little umbrella. Lovely. now that I have dog, I should make... Yeah, let's totally make a roof for Doggo. Also, this could absolutely go over the edge, and probably roots will go down until they find the bottom of wherever they're at. These are coming along okay. And now we begin the process of seeing what kind of person our random IP visitor is. Honestly, if that's the thing that happens, we've probably had people picking up on that before. It's just not necessarily, oh my God, that's a tall mangrove. Wow. There's bound to be lots of mangrove coming from out of those. Interesting conversation in the last 15 minutes before I go off and get the car. Let me settle in here. Yeah, yeah. Correct. Pink Sounds, he's saying, yeah, people can come in and try to get you kicked off Twitch or whatever by spamming the chat with slurs. So if that happened, I would just switch OBS over to camera view or something. And I don't know anything about any of the rest of that, but I mean, this is not even hosted on it's not even being hosted on a Minecraft server hosting scenario. So there's really like, oh, and I'm having a nice conversation while hanging out with my dog, which I should put. You got rained on. I should put a roof on. Perhaps I will do that while having my conversation. Having a nice conversation before heading out. What the hell was that? Yeah, let's not do that. What the? I'm flapping and going autistic because I'm constantly turning on the wrong things by accident. Let's try that again. That's very nice. Imagine learning about Airwindows plugins via a Minecraft from the owner. Well, the only way that this would be better is if they were a raving Airwindows fan and did not know. That would be cooler. That would be cooler. Oh, for heaven's sake. Are you just there because of the mangrove forest? I could see it. Goodbye, Mr. Pond. These guys are unpleasant surprise. Oh, am I still on the Godot? Oh, for heaven's sake. It's too late to change it now. Actually, no, it's not. It's not. OBS? No, it's not going to be OBS. It's going to be over here. Let me just edit that before I finish stream, which is going to be in less than 10 minutes. Yeah, this is not for the Godot. It's been a while. Pictures, streaming title cards, and talking stream with a Minecraft background. Yep, I got it. Okay, so the thumbnail is now more correct. And that should stick for having it saved. But yeah, I mean, isn't that... How cool is it to have somebody wandering around just jumping into random Minecraft servers by looking for public IPs and then discovering Airwindows that way and realizing, oh my god, I can have all of these things? How awesome and nice. I'm like, yeah, it is. So, biquad questions. Also, wander around and see whether... We sure do still have a lot of these, don't we? I wonder if they'll grow this way. How about I pick up the ones that are too closely spaced? I hardly think they will grow right next to other branches, but I could be mistaken. I will say, however, this is probably how we got the creeper. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But if I wanted to get real funky with this, I could probably make them go right off the edge into the water, because I think they do. Yeah, biquad, non-lin, biquad, EQ, non-lin. Jonathan, I probably could. It didn't occur to me at the moment, but that could have its own place. Hi, ink sacks. It's going too fast. There we go, another ink sac. Derping around with my stuff more in a little bit, but that's fine. You know, something else I could do. I wonder how these mechanics work. This could be a bit of fun, although I'm not really going to have enough time for it to really see what it's doing. But what if, like with the jungle tree trick, you climb up to the top of these and then plant other mangrove trees in little blocks of dirt on top of these trees? Do the roots go down to... And we never did find out what this does, do we? Also, where's my... paint? I don't know. I wonder whether that noise is simply the Skelly horse. Probably. Oh, that's interesting. Something's growing up there. I don't know what that is. I can doubtless find out. Yeah, see, what I would be thinking about that, Jonathan, is taking something like Smoothie Q2 and adding Nonlin to it, since it is all made up out of biquads anyhow, and using that for some form of console variation that's meant to be more analog-y. I'm already thinking in terms of doing something that's kind of classic Beatlesy. Keeping an eye out for stray creepers. We seem good. I'm going to try not to run. I don't want to be late for car replacement time. That's a very exciting time. Creeper droppings. I know, I could put that there. Okay, there's more shells, more ender pearls, and a couple of things. This is a gift. This is some kind of gift. If I get soul stand, I can start brewing. Seems cool. Seems like something I could do in the next quarter or when I finally get back to this kind of thing. It takes me so long to get back to this kind of thing. Oh, and I can put that there and that there. And let me pay a little more attention to answering questions in the last 3 minutes to stream. If that's something I can do, we'll see. We'll see whether that's something I can do. I swear to God, I had ink sacks and dye on me. Oh, here we go. That's where it went. Dye's probably here too. So if I arrange these things this way and then go and grab my vines, which I think are here. Yes, they are. Yeah, so if I leave my stuff like this, hopefully it is a reminder to climb the trees with the vines, place some dirt, then place mangrove propagules in the top of the trees and see what happens then. And I'm going to look up what this thing is. That's spawning as part of these. So that's probably all to the good. And the rest becomes just doing this repeatedly. I'm gonna, there we go. So if I do that enough, I'll have a giant arch of mangrove, which probably will drop roots everywhere. And that'll be kind of neat. For now, I have hit the end of my stream. So I'm going to leave that where it is. It's probably not going to grow yet. Hopefully having the this orientation and stuff will give me enough of a clue as to what I meant to do. Who knows, maybe I'll be back on Thursday and do some more of this rather than just more coding. Because I do have coding. I have disk tapity, if that's what I was going to call it. The discontinuity and tape hack combination to do. And with that, I will log off from that for the moment. Quit out of here. This is some wild stuff. These people are getting like Kraft as sponsors. There are Kraft ads. See this Purina ads. Whoever they are some big leaguer Minecraft advertisers, because man, the advertising they are able to get is astonishing. Imagine being like a Minecrafter or whatever, and it's like, oh hi, I got sponsorships from Kraft and Purina. Wow. So yeah. So and I do work in Godot too. I may be doing that on Thursday. And so I'm doing not necessarily exactly game things, but I can show you probably, and I can show you right now. Check that out. So I made this little thing in Godot. And what it does is you run it, and it generates possible reverb algorithms and plots out what the sound of it would look like if it was a plot. And over in the side here, you get the numbers that you would use in your reverb algorithm, and you get to run it to try to generate better and better reverb algorithms, and it's all built in Godot in C#. Is this the one that's... No, the new stuff I'm doing is in C#. This is in GD script, but it's using arrays rather than trying to work from the images themselves. So I have a bunch of these that I run overnight to generate my reverb sounds. And yeah, it's all good. And quick final answers for Jonathan before I log off. Smooth 2, in fact the original Smooth as well, is essentially very much like the Purist plugin system in that it's a well-constructed biquad EQ of various descriptions, and the nonlinearity is good for bringing color to things. And the difference between Smooth EQ and Parametric that are biquad based is that Smooth EQ is built entirely out of crossovers that are fairly steep. And the way that those crossovers work is it's simply a low-pass filter, splitting it into above and below, and repeatedly adding that, meaning that I can do the same thing that I do in pointy guitar and layer a bunch of those on top of each other, making it steeper and steeper, but it will still cancel out to absolutely perfect. The difference between that and a parametric that is biquad-based is that a parametric that is biquad-based makes peaks and dips that are like smoother curves, whereas using steep crossovers between sections means that they're essentially like a flat plane that moves up and down, rather than having a boost that's like a curve that is just a rounded boost that slides along. Instead of that, you've got a sort of flat-topped area. How flat it is depends upon how steep the curve is. And that moves based on the two crossovers on either side of it. And so that is the answer to that. And I will see you later. Possibly later this afternoon. Possibly I will just, I don't know, get a celebratory pizza. Actually, it's taco day, so I will be having that. Wish me luck over at the car dealership. Nothing weird happens. It'll be very exciting. And I will see you either later today or another stream on Thursday. Bye-bye.